here on my desktop, we have the live Webex application running in a Windows environment. First thing I will highlight is that you'll probably notice I'm running this in a browser. That is just a remote desktop session so that I'm able to demo Webex for you while I'm in a Webex. But this is an application that will run locally on the desktop. In this scenario, I am running it in light mode. There are about 8 different color flavors that users can select on their own. If someone prefers working in a dark mode type configuration, that's definitely an option. But what I will walk you through then are some of the common components within the solution. And as I'm doing that, we'll kind of walk through each one of these icons on the left side. You will see we can expand these out. A lot of users tend to keep that out for about the first day or two, and then as they get to more familiarity with the application, for the sake of screen real estate, we can zip that back in. But first thing you'll notice in the upper left corner here is my profile and my status green. I am able to change that status here from to a busy or a do not disturb for a set amount of time. I can also set quiet hours, so perhaps I have this installed on my device and I don't want to be disturbed after my business hours. That's definitely an option, and each user can configure that on their own. The statuses here can integrate with your Outlook calendar if you do have Office 365. And then as we look down the left side, we have messaging first. This is right now in the all view. So this is showing all of my chats that are either one-to-one or group chats. You can see that Chris sent me a note, what's for lunch, and he's available. I can let him know that, hey, we're getting pizza. I can also parse this down to just my direct chats. So this would be just my one-on-ones, as well as spaces, which is the name for any group chats. In addition, we have public chat spaces. This is where you can have spaces that people across your organization can choose to join or remove themselves from. So many organizations will use this for all company chats or company events and things like that to allow people to participate as they see fit for their role. When I am in one of these chats, if we go back to Chris, again, we can see his status. Let's say him and I were chatting, and now we really need to determine where are we getting pizza. Let's be more efficient with our communication. Stop chatting, just talk live. At any point, I can escalate this conversation to an audio call. Again, just using the speaker and microphone in my laptop or my headset. I can escalate this to an ad hoc video call, as well as share my screen with him or schedule a meeting. When we move down the left side, the next section is Teams. This is very similar to the chat function, but is really designed for a group of people that are working on a similar project or projects. In this scenario, we can see we have our sales and engineering group. When I dive in there, I have multiple chat groups. Now, these do mirror some of the spaces that I had out in my group chats in the previous section, but this allows me to organize those in a way where I can more easily define, this is a specific project or a specific customer that we're working on. Inside of there, I can have my team chat where I'm collaborating with everyone across my team, or maybe my technical team where it's just more specific individuals that are getting into a specific topic. Within this team space, we are able to also, again, integrate with your calendar and schedule meetings right from the application. So you'll see here I had sent out a meeting for the technical deep dive team on October 30th. That's simply scheduled through the button up top. And if I was integrated with my Office 365, that would show availability for everyone in that group as well. And I could be able to just find that at free time, hit the schedule button, and that'll send it right out to everyone. If you prefer to work within the Outlook application, there is also a Webex plugin that just gets installed on the toolbar within your Outlook meeting invites. So we continue hopping down the line. Next, we have contacts. From this page, users can see everyone across their organization as well as their contacts that could integrate in from Office 365. Users can create their own groups. So I have my team as well as other contacts. It's very easy to add contacts to a group or move them to a different group. You'll see that it does show their availability, so I know that Chris and Chris are, again, both green and available. Chris has now gone busy till 1:50, so if I were to try to reach out to him, probably not going to have a great experience, might end up in his voicemail. In addition, you can also have a global address book. So in this example, we had a chain of hotels for a management company. The convenient thing there is by creating that global address book, it provides all of these contacts that anyone in your organization can search for. So you can have one unified address book for everyone and all of your employees. As we continue our journey down the left side, now we get to the real meat of the application, the calling side. On the left side window here, you'll see my full call history. That includes all calls inbound and outbound. I can also parse that down to just my missed calls. And as I hover over each of these, I'm presented with an option where I can easily call back via audio or video if it were an internal employee that could take that video call. On the right side, we have the dial pane. I can type in the box to type the phone number. I can click on the buttons. Or as most customers start to move away from utilizing things like the actual phone number and extension, I can just search by someone's name. And again, you'll notice that same status pulls through, allowing you to have more efficient communication because at a glance you can see, hey, was Chris already on a phone call? Probably not going to want to call him right now because I know I'm just going to land in his voicemail anyway. Down below here, you'll see that I am calling from my computer. Again, that's going to utilize my headset or my microphone and speakers. I can toggle this to a physical phone. So now I'm tied to my Cisco 8841 over my shoulder here. When I go to make a call out, it's going to call my phone, I answer it, and call the other person. So now I can have my physical phone still be the path for all of my audio, still have a crooked neck holding the phone on my shoulder, but do all of the call control right on the desktop, meaning I can put that call on hold. I can transfer that and have that visibility of others in the organization while still utilizing the audio from my physical phone. So all of that, let's take a look at a call coming in. So you'll notice I do get the pop-up in the bottom window. In this scenario, it does show that it's coming in through a queue. More about that shortly, but you can see that does show the office supply line is coming in on. When I answer that call, I'm presented with this window that shows all of the call control, meaning I have my keypad. So if I were at an auto attendant, I needed to press 1 for sales, 2 for support. I can do that right here within the window. In addition, I have the options for putting that call on hold, transfer, conferencing. If I wanted to transfer that call, I'm presented with the familiar dial pad where I can enter in the extension of someone in the organization or the full phone number of someone outside the organization. Or again, I can just search for people. So with transferring this call to Chris, I have options of doing a consulted transfer where I can say, hey, Chris, I have Jeff on the line. Are you able to take his call and then merge those two calls together? Or I can do a transfer now or blind transfer where I just take that call, send it over to Chris. If he's available, he'll answer it. If not, it'll probably land in his voicemail. So really easy to handle those calls quickly and efficiently right from the desktop. Now, I did mention the call queuing. Again, that call had come in through a queue. The solution does include some basic call center functionality just right in the box. Down here, I have my user signed in to these 4 queues. I have an option as an agent to be able to log myself in and out of queues, or we can configure this where a user's options are grayed out and they're always just a member of that queue. Perhaps someone's a member of the Cedar Rapids main line. Well, we want to make sure someone's always answering that line. Let's gray that out, make sure they always stay logged in. In addition, from an outbound call perspective, I can configure this to allow me to change this on a per call basis. So right now, if I make a call out, you can see it says call as me, Eric Hassler, and my individual DID or phone number. If I toggle this here to the Cedar Falls main line, you'll notice it changed the number. So what that means is when I call somebody, they're going to see that number on their caller ID. And where that can be important is if they say didn't answer that call and they hit the callback button on their phone, they're going to be calling back into this main line or maybe the pilot number of a queue, as opposed to going to my individual DID, where maybe I'm the best resource to help them, or maybe somebody else in my organization should be, so we can direct that caller to the most appropriate location. To continue the journey around, call settings. This is where a user can determine, do they want to forward all of their calls to voicemail, similar to like a do not disturb function. Now, all of these tools are also available on the mobile device. So if I hop here over to my all, and now we're looking here on this window at my application, my Webex application running on a Android phone. You'll see it's the same detail on both of the phones, outlining the call history, the voicemail, etc., right on my mobile device. If I pull up the dial pad, if I make a call out from here now, this is not going to show my personal cell phone number. This will actually show my work DID or the main line for the organization, depending on how that's been configured. Another great feature within the app is this pull call button that we have right here. Where that is helpful is, let's say I am on a call at my desk and it's running long, I need to get to another appointment. I can hit that pull call button. That's going to seamlessly move that call from my desktop or from my physical phone over to this application in my cell phone. The user or caller on the other end doesn't hear any hold music or beeps or pops. It's just immediately connected. I can then continue that call on my cell phone, hop in my car where I'm connected to my Bluetooth, drive to my next appointment, and continue that conversation uninterrupted. I mentioned voicemail. That is available here right within the application. You will see that it does include transcription as well as the ability to listen to the audio right within the app. In addition, voicemail can be delivered via email, where it will again include the transcription in the body of the email and the audio file attached. Or if there are users that prefer to receive voicemails through their phone, you can absolutely still have the blinking red light on the physical phone and dial in with their PIN to retrieve voicemails that way. And that can be configured on a per user basis to ensure that everyone is operating with the system that works best for their needs and their role. Lastly, as we move down, is the calendaring and meetings. This again can integrate with your Outlook calendar. You can schedule a meeting right through here. You also have the ability to just start an ad hoc meeting. If I were to click this button here, that now copied that URL to my clipboard. I can drop that in a chat. I can drop that in an email. Someone clicks that link and they're just immediately in my personal room attending an ad hoc meeting. So from there, I will flip over then briefly to the administration side. What I do want to say is some users or some organizations, you may never log into this at all, because as Chris indicated, this is a fully managed solution from Marco. However, we do understand that some organizations do want to have the keys to the car, take it for a drive, make some of those easy changes on their own. We absolutely provide you that ability. And I'll show you how intuitive some of that can be here within the Webex Control Hub. This is a single pane of glass for all things managing the phone system, and it is accessible via any internet connection. So maybe you needed to make a quick change on a day where there was inclement weather and no one's going to the office. You can log in remotely and be able to still manage that phone system and make any changes. What you're seeing on the screen right now is a little brief window I like to show, especially for those people in IT roles that might have received the dreaded phone call from a user of, hey, we just had a bad call or bad audio quality. It was really choppy. And that can be a hard call to troubleshoot sometimes, because was that an issue with the internet connection, with our local network, with the trunking provider? There's a lot of variables involved. This allows us to drill down on a per call basis to be able to understand what was that call quality, what occurred, and how can we troubleshoot it. And I highlight this because these are the same tools that your teams have available to them, but also our internal teams. So when we look at supporting our customers and ensuring that you have the best call quality, we have these tools at our fingertips and can understand, hey, was that phone over a wired Ethernet connection or over Wi-Fi? What was the internet provider that was providing that connection? And it allows us to get you that data where maybe it was a problem with the internet. Instead of just calling your ISP and saying, hey, our internet's bad, this can give us some very granular detail to support that call to your ISP so that you don't get stuck in that finger pointing game of it's your internet, no, it's your phone system. Moving over to some of the other analytics that are available. Again, the solution, including some call center functionality, allows for call queue stats based on both your customer experience. So what is it like when someone calls in? How long are they on hold? And then as well the agent experience, where you can look at what is the performance of your staff. When we look at the queue experience for your customers, it has those typical call center KPIs. So you can see your total number of answered calls, abandoned calls, your percentages of abandoned, what your average hold times are. And right now when I'm looking in this view, this is across all of my call queues. I can filter down here in this box via the individual queues or locations as well. And the data here is presented in multiple graphical ways. In addition, you do have all of the raw data at the bottom, which can be exported as a spreadsheet if you wanted to retain that or do further data analysis. When we look at the agent stats, again, this is looking at what is the performance of those members of those queues, of your employees that are taking calls. This allows you to see what was the total number of calls that were coming through the queue, what were the total number of bounced calls or calls that someone called in and didn't get answered and they hung up, what was your average handling time. And all of this can be drilled down by an individual user perspective. So we can see the top 25 agents by the number of answered calls or the average talk time. And where this can be useful is maybe Chris and I are both members, agents in a queue, and Chris's talk time is 2 minutes, but mine is 5 minutes. Let's get an understanding of why is there such a big difference? Is there a coaching opportunity? Is there something we can do to be more efficient and effective? And then to just give you a quick view on how easy it can be to make changes within the platform if you wanted to, as opposed to opening up a ticket with Marco. We can look at something like an auto attendant. And that would be the menu that someone hits if you configured a menu instead of having live answer. You wanted someone to get a menu that said, press 1 for sales, 2 for support. That's as easy as configuring a dropdown. So maybe we wanted to change this, press 1 to be hit into a queue. Now I hit save. That's immediately updated in the phone system. You don't need to have a advanced understanding of telephony and phone system configuration to be able to come in and make a lot of those simple changes. That's just one example, but I'll be happy to show everyone it's additional during further meetings.